his 91 Eunos Roadster. I know what you're thinking. It's a Miata. It's not a Miata. This is the JDM version of the Miata. And the one thing that I really love about Japanese cars is the people that end up buying them always have some crazy story about how they acquired the car, because there's always some kind of adventure. So why don't you tell me how you got this thing? How'd you come across it?
So actually I hired a local gentleman by the name of Nick Singleton of Driving Right Imports, who specializes in rare and collectible vehicles abroad. And he, after about a month of searching, found this car in southern Japan. It has one previous owner. It had about 83,000 miles on it when I purchased it. I have every single service record since the day it was brand new. All the goofy owner's manuals with the Japanese cartoons in them and everything.
Wow.
The service writer's handwriting of all the service records and everything that's been done to the car. It was about a 5-month process to get it over here. I purchased the car before it was actually legal.
Yeah.
It was produced September of 1991, and so we had to, even though I bought it in June, it had to sit in the port of Yokohama for about 4 months before we could bring it over. But the wait made it much more worthwhile.
Of course.
So when I got it here, it was in pretty sad shape. The paint was pretty faded. It was about flat yellow. It was on some horrible boat anchor wheels and was basically bone stock, other than it had some dealer option installed one-piece Mazda speed coilovers that were horribly blown, but still a cool collector's item I'm going to make some lamps out of someday.
Of course. So tell me about the wood grain interior. I haven't seen the little wood grain, the steering wheel and the shift knob. What's going on with that?
So this car is one of the rarer special editions they sold in Japan. It's a J Limited, which they only produced 800 of them in the world. This is car number 39 of the 800 produced. And one of the parts of that special edition was that it came with Nardi Torino all mahogany interior. So the steering wheel, shift knob lever, and e-brake is all matching mahogany from the same piece of wood.
That's wild. So tell me what you got going on under the hood.
So right now it's actually back to naturally aspirated. It's a 1.6 liter inline four that makes 103 rear wheel horsepower, dyno proven, which big number, right?
Yeah.
But I recently pulled the supercharger off of it, looking to maybe go turbo instead, get some bigger numbers.
Yeah.
But it had an Eaton M45, 45 cubic inch, positive displacement, twin screw supercharger, and it made about 150 wheel horsepower.
Wow.
Which a 50% horsepower gain from a bolt-on mod, that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's a lot of power, especially for something that's so light.
Exactly. So when this car left the port of Yokohama, it was 2,046 pounds when it weighed out. Now that's with no fuel in it, so dry weight. But with the roll bar, the lightweight wheels and everything on it right now, it's about 2,150 track weight.
Wow, yeah, I bet that's a blast to drive.
It is a go-kart. It is a street legal go-kart.
So I'm looking at the wheels and I'm thinking Watanabe, are those the real deal?
So these are actually what the Watanabes are based off of. They are Panasport racing wheels. They're actually not even street legal. Don't tell the police. They're the original classic racing wheels. They were really popular in the 80s and 90s on the small sports cars. Datsun made the big debut with them and everything.
Yeah.
They're about 10.5 pounds a wheel, which by modern standards is decently heavy, but for the day, they were the wheel to have.
Yeah, I mean, that's about as rare as it gets, right?
I'm very fortunate to have found a set of them not curbed to hell.
Yeah. So I bet driving around you get lots of funny looks being on the right side of the car. What's it like to drive this thing around every day in America?
It's quite entertaining. I can't drive it anywhere for more than about 20 minutes without somebody stopping and wanting to talk about it. Lots of people at stoplights telling me, "Hey, you're on the wrong side of the car," and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I've owned far nicer cars than more expensive cars than this, and this one has by far gotten more attention than anything else I've ever owned.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun though. It took about 2 weeks to get used to driving it. Biggest thing is knowing where to be in your lane.
Yeah.
So, but not too bad.
So other than the special trim pieces because it's the special edition, what makes this car different from the United States Miatas?
So the biggest differences between a Eunos Roadster and its counterpart sold in the US was they don't have the door bracing in the doors that was required by US safety standards, so they're about 80 to 100 pounds lighter depending on the engine size. And then these do not have an EGR system, so that combined with a little bit hotter fuel mapping, they make about 10 more horsepower, give or take. So other than that, the biggest thing was all the special options that they had there that they didn't offer here.
Yeah.
So this car, chief differences is this is one of the only ones they ever produced in the iconic sunburst yellow color. It came with a viscous limited slip type differential. It is a 5-speed, not a 6-speed. And then it also came with some really cool Roadster R floor mats.
Yeah.
So little gimmick things, but it makes the car unique.
Well, should we go for a ride?
Yeah, by all means.
All right. This is weird. I want to like grab for the shifter, but I'm not in the driver's position in this car. Oh, kilometers! I was like, no way!
I have gotten a lot of people with that one. I've sent pictures while I'm cruising down the highway at 140 kilometers an hour.
There's no way 103 horsepower Miata just got to 120 at that.
It's misleading.
Oh, it's that. I love that classic Miata induction, 4-cylinder induction noise.
Oh, absolutely. Even with a stock intake right now.
You know what? That's one of the funny things is that Miata designed that intake to have that induction noise.
Yes.
So it really, the car sounds at its best with all the factory things on it.
Half the time, the intakes, especially if you do a short ramp, are louder than the exhaust.
Yeah.
So
she grips.
10 coilovers front and rear.
Yeah.
It's got flying Miata front and rear sway bars with racing beat, fully adjustable end links, poly bushings.
Yeah.
It's got Mazda speed, oversized front bracer, 11.5-inch front rotors with Hawk HPS pads all 4 corners and .4 fluid.
That's awesome.
It's fun, man. But yeah, this car does one thing and one thing very well. It turns.
Yeah. But that is why you buy a Miata.
Exactly.
Right? It is the perfect roadster because it's perfect 50-50 weight distribution.
Yep.
And with minimal suspension mods, you can out-handle pretty much any car on the market.
Just about. The biggest thing about Miatas is smiles per mile. You know, you can spend a lot of money and buy a much faster and even better handling car, but the Miata, for the money, you're not going to do better.
Yeah, you're not going to beat it.
And the great thing about this car is we're not even breaking the speed limit right now.
I know. And you're having fun.
Exactly.